Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. We're continuing our deep dive into this radical feminist book in order to understand their philosophy, their agenda, and to come up with solutions that are halal to what they propose as a counter narrative. Now, she was talking in her usual manner, mocking good girls and really wanting women to have sexual freedom and trashing men as she does. So we're going to continue along that thread. Let's begin. Bismillah. Yet again, sexism is the issue, and for some reason, sexism itself has become eroticized. That is a problem. It's not flirtation that any of us take issue with, said a friend of mine late on night after another round of exhausting, emotional work trying to shore up the shuddering self-image of the men we know so they don't collapse on top of us. She's kind of like that stereotypical liberal writer in a way. It's interesting. So she contends sexism has become eroticized. Okay? It's entitlement, projection, objectification. Okay, so entitlement, projection, objectification. Okay, so she has said twice now, sexism is the issue. Okay, she said it in the previous video, now she's saying it again. She mentioned above in the last video that she wants women to be free to be sexual and free to dress like they want and to walk like that, and to suggest that we might want something good girls don't. So she's almost a raging hypocrite. Dress like that. And then she says here, objectification. So she wants women to walk like a naughty girl, talk like a tawdy girl, be extremely sexual, but then is crying about men objectifying women for behaving the way she just literally told them to behave at. We know when we're being dehumanized. This is quite insane, actually. So she's acting in a way that's beastly, ghastly, beneath a dignified person, and then wonders why someone would not put them on the same pedestal of being somebody more worthy of respect. When you respect yourself, it commands respect from others. Clearly, she has not done a whole lot of internal work. Good flirting is the kind where they see us. Okay, I kind of sometimes feel bad for men because they're getting too many signals on what to do, what not to do. Flirting, the kind where they see us. It's not that I know she doesn't mean see them like, oh, you're standing in front of me, but it's like you want men to be able to go inside of you. That's a lot of work for flirting. That's a lot of work. And a lot of flirting is random and spontaneous and awkward. Especially for young bucks in high school, like they like, the cheerleader, and they're just like, what do I say to her? I mean, in Rick and Morty talking to Jessica, you get this kind of funny stereotype. It's like, he doesn't know how to flirt. And then you get the Mad Men type of characters who are sucking down whiskey, poisoning their liver, and being kind of so charismatic that they turn into a sleazeball. Unless you're doing the Antonio Banderas Mask of Zorro, or what's the name of the husband of Morticia? Adams, right? Adams. Like, he's just kissing her hand and she's just like this goth, like, kiss me and love me, and the Addams Family, but what's his name? her name is Morticia. I don't know. But Guzman. You get the point. Gonzo, no. I don't know. Something like that. But he flirts. Like, there's these stereotypes we have. Or the old guy in the Dos Equis Spear commercials. You have some stereotypes, right, of how men can flirt. But that's not where they're seeing the woman. You can tell, like, this is sort of a lesbian-esque type of flirting. Do women even do this, you know, when they flirt with men? Do they see the man? Usually not. Usually not. They won't know how to flirt the right way until they start unlearning how to look at us. Oh my gosh. Okay, so they need to unlearn how to look at us. Okay, meanwhile, let's draw a little line, because I don't want to forget. For many years, women have been unable to demand the right to have our bodily autonomy respected, while also feeling free to be sexual, to dress like that, to walk like that, to suggest that we might want something good girls don't. What do good girls want? Marriage, loyalty, fidelity, responsibility, no STDs, no one-night stands, a father figure for their children, not to be sodomized behind a dumpster. She wants the opposite of that, a fling. She complained earlier how guys would be shocked by her open enthusiasm for such lewd behavior by the third date. So she's putting out quickly. Okay? But then she says here, until they start learning how to look at us. So, you want to put out quickly. You want to dress like a harlot. Walk like a harlot. Say you don't want what good girls want. And then you don't want to be dehumanized. And you don't want to be objectified. There's something going on here. You know, like, woman, you are all over the place. You're all over the place. So whenever a man tells me that all of this new pressure to treat women, even women you'd like to have intimacy with, as people who matter. Okay, so people who matter. Okay, treat women as people who matter. Makes him feel that his sexuality is being policed. Policing sexuality. This is the paradox of the male mind, you know. Can you blame them fully for how women allow their characters to be treated in the role-playing they do in the adult entertainment industry? I remind you, there are rat femmes who are against adult entertainment, but there are many who are also for it, okay? So, in a lot of those scenes, you know, the women will degrade themselves for money. You listen to their interviews, you know, you got a stack of Benjamins, they're gonna do whatever you want, because it's all about materialism for them. So, men have this very difficult time of knowing how to treat a Jezebel, you know, very vainglorious, pompous, entitled, insane woman who's pretty. Like, you can't let her matter too much to you, because she could be a psychopath. She could drain your bank account, walk away. You know, just like how some of these women talk about their pay pigs. You cannot, you know, let them put the hook in you and lead you around. You gotta know how able to cut it off, that they don't matter, you know. Now, for Muslim men, they're called to something higher. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, the best of you are those who are best to their wives. I'm summarizing the hadith, but I'm sure you're familiar with it by now. And so that would mean you're treating those women like they matter, right? But they are wives. And there shouldn't be free mixing, and, you should have basic respect for people. But some people disrespect themselves and then demand you respect them in a way that goes beyond what is appropriate. Someone might say, well, this is the level of respect I demand. And in reality, you need to push the bare minimum of respect, right? That's something people forget. Someone could have a standard of respect that they think that they have earned, when in reality, respect is earned, not given. And then when it is given, it's the basic that you would give for a cat or a dog, something along that nature, right? Just, how are you, stranger? Goodbye. Not coddling. So, being a fly on the wall while this woman is having a conversation could probably turn someone into an alcoholic. I don't know what to tell him whenever a man confesses that he's worried about what will happen if he tries to come on to someone, that he is afraid of being punished endlessly for one tiny or not so tiny error of judgment. Okay, that's a bit ironic, because she literally is making it so confusing even for me as a woman to understand. So he should be worried. Yes, men have to be. When you're dealing with a feminist, liberal men can have, they're very cerebral, effeminate, stereotype, thick black frame glasses. They have a lisp, a scarf and skinny jeans and weathered leather shoes, and their beard is there, right? And there's like little man bun, and they got their vape pen. So it's like those guys got the time to play these, mind games with you. But I would argue that a man who's got things to handle, he's not gonna want to download, PDF files on psychology just to have basic flirting skills with you, and he don't want to get filmed and then put on TikTok and have his life ruined because one of his cringe pickup lines failed that he got from some like red pill Twitter feed, right? I wonder if he understands that for women, that sort of frustrated, terrified longing, that yearning paralysis is nothing new, it's normal. If we want to have a conversation about the policing of sexuality, the sexuality of white straight men is not the place to start. Okay, so again, her racism, okay, her bigotry is here. So, white, straight men, okay? If you said black straight men, you would probably see that author deleted, right? But she has to pick on, like, the fact that she's such an angry person who's so racist that she's putting Italians, French, Polish, Russians, Greeks, Macedonians, and Canadians, you name it, everyone who's pale, in the same box. That's a huge net, right? Huge net. To compare a German to a French, it's crazy. It's crazy. But when someone thinks that your race is a good thing to attack, and that you being, okay, you know what it is, true? I'll put it this way. I never dated my own race. I always went for Latino. I'm mixed race. Italian and Cherokee. I always liked Latino. My eyes always went to that. Never dated my own race. I always felt that white men American white men, they want Britney Spears, they want Paris Hilton, and they want that political wife who smiles a lot and has to play the hospitality role figure. At least where I was growing up, partly in Utah, right? That's what I saw around me, and I thought that was too much work. I could have had, you know, an upper class white guy who looks more like he'd be on the Harvard or lacrosse team or something, and I turned that down just because I thought it's too much work. You know, you have to really be a Barbie, and I don't want to necessarily be a Barbie, and my mood is very sometimes, I don't know how to describe it, steady. I'm not preppy, I'm not bubbly, I have a sense of humor, but it wouldn't match. It wouldn't match the vibe. I know how that sounds. I'm just trying to explain something. The prep school, you know, Ivy League guy who smiles too much, it's just not. But there's not all that type. There's the guys in Louisiana, right? Texas boys, you know, stuff like that. But there is a thing with, like, I have a lot of beautiful female cousins. They work really hard to considering to stay blonde, blue-eyed Barbies, right? And good for them, but I'm more of like, I'm gonna get my exercise and go into like the forest, and it's just a different type of thing. And maybe that's changing now, right? People are mixed race, there's a new culture, but maybe her anger towards white heterosexual men is that they don't find her attractive, and whoever you get rejected by, you start to resent them. And so maybe there's such, and also the white standard of beauty classically doesn't see a certain, like, if you took a beautiful Ukrainian model, their classic bone structure, and then you took a beautiful, a classic beauty of one of the tribal women, right? Or because let's take the past societies, right? Even from the curvature to the lips, the foreheads, the ears, like, it's all different, you know? Like, the Asian features, for some people, they like Asian features, you know? And others, they're like, no, I like more, like, the South Korean features are different than Filipino features, right? So there's a tendency for cultures to be like, we don't value your standard of beauty. So if you think about it, when you get rejected by another culture's standard of beauty, sometimes you can rebel against that culture and then make the mistake of something that it's racial or something, when in reality it's not. Okay? And so, I feel like that's a little bit of her. Because what would really be the need to bring up the paleness of skin, the white race? Because the Italian standard of beauty in their climate, with their diets, is different than Russian. And the women are different, you know? It's just different. Like, a French standard of beauty is, you know, very different as well than a Southern belle of America. You can see it, maybe not anymore because so many people are traveling and it's so different world now, but it's different. It's different. So she has something going on there. It is not the place to start. I know how it feels to have my sexuality policed. Most women do. Most of us know how it feels to be judged because of who you are, not what you do. I mean, what's wrong with being judged about who you are? People should judge you for who you are. That's literally who you are. If I can't judge you for who you are, I mean, what's going on? Not what you do. Judge both. I'm gonna judge you by who you are and what you do. Because what you focus on your mind on tells me a lot about you. Most of the interests of women and queer people I've ever met know exactly how that goes. The difference being that they are ashamed and attacked for is not being sexually violent, but rather being sexual at all. She sounds like she wants to marry like Prince, who did Purple Rain. Purple rain, purple rain. Like, if you just want a guy like that who's a little bit queer, go after it. But he's dead now. It's a little galling, having to watch men panic and beg for mercy now that they're being ever so slightly punished for hurting women, and accidentally or otherwise, when some of us have spent our lives being relentlessly punished just for being women. That is like the most feministic sentences, like group of sentences I've ever heard. So when she says watchmen panic and beg, like she's really trying to evoke like how weak and pathetic they are. And then she's propping up the woman as, well, women have been dealing with that just for being women. So why can't men handle just the most simplest little thing? Like, and you're like, okay, you little writer, I see what you did there. But let's be a little nice. Slightly punished, and she claims that they're panicking and begging. What she thinks is hurting is probably up for debate, right? Probably up for debate. We should remember that. All else being equal, and when is all else ever equal? Men and women have comparable sex drives. This is still a controversial truth. Yes, but, okay, she's gonna get into the study of that. Even if you, they don't mean you need to imitate men. You know? You don't, saying, okay, so women have a similar sex drive. Keep it with your husband. I don't understand. It's so amazing now that I've become, like, so aware of the American culture. Because feminism will tell women, rack up a body count. Rack it up, baby. Get you like 100 Ds a week. Just ram it all in. Don't even think about STDs. Just run wild. Have like 10 different baby daddies. You know, marry nobody. Just slang it where you slang it. And they think that type of, and then walk, as she said, you know, walk like you want it. You know, walk and dress like everything's for sale. Just name your price. And she thinks this is gonna attract men whose moms care about their sons, right? Think about that, what I just said. You love your son. He's gonna bring home that stray cat. That's when you're gonna see the mom change. That's why there isn't really a sisterhood. Unless the mother hates her own son. A mother who loves her son isn't gonna want her son to be dominated by a woman who has been passed around like a blunt to everyone in the community, and she thinks she's so empowered. When I've been around these types of hypersexual women, when you start asking questions, you just start prodding deeper and deeper, the insecurities unfold, and you see that they're very deeply hurt. If you tell them to be more modest, they feel like they're losing power. If you say what they're doing is harming society, they will threaten self-harm, or that they have a mental problem, or they'll admit they're on pills. Like, you see the things just slowly unfold. That there's a line of trauma. That the women who turn out to be like that either were harmed by a stepdad, their dad, molested by a cousin, or they had their heart broken so badly that they flipped. It's a pattern that repeats and repeats. And the solution to that pattern isn't then go get your ego temporarily bandaged by random guys you met and trick yourself into thinking this is powering. What you should do is accept the loss, and then ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide you. Protect your body from being touched by any man, wait till marriage, and don't marry somebody who is not worthy of being a good father, who isn't safe, and there's a lot of other things you could say, but you want to save it for a husband, okay? And if you get divorced, you remarry, you're still gonna save it for your husband. A man can't be like, hey, you were married, so I get to have you in 2 days. You know, I don't gotta marry you. Nope. Actually, you do have to marry. And put a ring on it. You know, that's what you're gonna do. So, keep your sexuality. Or rather your sex drive where it belongs in your relationship. Use that drive to keep your marriage strong. Okay? That's where it belongs. Okay? Because you're going to need that drive when you've been with someone for 5 years, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. It's going to slowly go down. You get used to that person. You know, you want to be able to keep that momentum for bonding your man to you and keeping your romance alive. Not by, oh, the postman wants me, the butcher down the street wants me, the guy at the gas station wants me, oh, my manager wants me, and you're just giving it, you know, letting everyone get a sample until you run into gonorrhea and syphilis and had 3 abortions, you know, and then you're just smoking a cigarette, drinking a Manhattan cocktail, and, you know, trauma dumping on the bartender who's held hostage for his tip. You know, I mean, come on. Get it together, lady. It's okay to point out that women have hormones. We know that. But the solution to having such hormones is not giving it up to the entire football team and then expecting other girls to trust you around their man or their brothers, right? I never met a good mom who thought to themselves, you know what, my son should marry the girl who smashed all his friends in high school and half the professors in college, and, you know, she's probably could, you know, give birth to a baby elephant without even having to push. So, you know, that's what kind of that's the kind of woman we want, you know. And even sisters who care about their brothers, right? Biological, that is. You know, you're gonna be like, who's she? You know, what's she up to? Because women know also the shenanigans of other women. And that comes down to a coven mentality. Do you put your gender above your blood? Alright? Think about it. It's really something to talk about. Let me know what you think. She is quite a master. When this is... sisters can shake hands, right? With sisters, not with men, right? If she reached her hand out, I'd be like, hey! It's probably a new, like, disease on that hand. Don't. No. You know what I mean? Like, you're gross, lady. Like, she's talking. That's I wear the niqab, but if I didn't have the niqab on, I put on a face mask. Like, yo, she got some new type of, you know, viral strain. Gonna start a pandemic. You know what I mean? Could watch. That's a funny way you could get those ladies back too. Make them feel insecure. Just be like, you know, gonna social distance, please. We're gonna have a debate. You know, can someone sanitize the microphone after she's done? You know when you go to the doctor's office, you have that paper that goes on the seat. It's like a tissue paper. When they give you an exam, you know, she goes to sit on there. Just be like, here, you know, just put that right there. You know, spare the person who has to sit on the seat where you sat. You know, we don't know what's leaking out of you. Yeah, gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. Ew. Let me know what you think. And if you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com. slash Milahan Archive. Hope to see you there.